Alan Toussaint.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, public health threat alert, especially in regards to dengue. And in the second watch, Dominican Republic to close borders with Haiti. For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on the Dominican Republic closing borders with Haiti? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
All right, before I give you today's I quote, I heard that it's your birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Reverend Toussaint, and I hope that your day will be splendid. All right?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, man. Today's I quote says, when you have money, you feel compelled to prepare for imaginary problems. And when you're poor, you imagine how it feels to be prepared for problems. And this is from Roland Gale.
Okay, thank you very much, Jukal, for that greeting.
Of course.
But by the way, with the rains coming back, how are you managing with the mosquitoes?
You know, funny enough, where I am, I don't experience mosquito bites because I have mesh on my windows, thank God. So I don't really have to, go through all of that. But, for those who are, spray up and ensure that you have a destroyer because it rough.
It really is.
Yeah, it rough, man, it rough.
It really is. The first watch will be back after this break.
Planning to sit the January CXC CSEC exams privately? Register with Overseas Examinations Commission before the registration deadline, October 13, 2023. Visit our Kingston office or Montego Bay office to complete your application form or send an email to help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow our social media pages at Overseas Exams for more details. Remember, if you plan to sit the January CXC CSEC exams privately, the registration deadline is October 13, 2023.
I've been hearing about this constitutional reform thing. You know anything about it?
Yes, constitutional reform is a chance for us to Jamaicanize the constitution.
But how?
Enough things changed since 1962 and we've matured as a nation. So modernizing the constitution will reflect our current societal values.
Oh, a constitution for Jamaicans, approved by Jamaicans.
Are you ready for the journey? Join us on the road to Republic. Think independence, think Republic. A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Tiles, tiles, and more tiles. It's the Totally Tiles sales event at Home and Things. Enjoy up to 50% off our entire huge selection of tiles. Top quality Spanish and Brazilian porcelain and ceramic tiles. Contemporary, traditional, or wood. We have your style. Check out our new arrivals of large format tiles at unbelievably low prices. Plus, other items discounted store-wide. Catch the Totally Tiles sales event now on at Home and Things. Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Lots of tiles, lots of styles.
Do you have questions about the availability of medication from your drugstore pharmacist?
Ask your pharmacist.
Contact your pharmacist today by using our online request form via our website, calling 876-906-1106 or texting 876-219-9937, Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. or by emailing rxsupport@nhf.org.jm. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
Ask your pharmacist.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, since the start of the year, there has been a reportedly 13% increase in cases of mosquito-borne disease, or the mosquito-borne disease known as dengue. And while Jamaica is not currently experiencing an outbreak, the presence of the type 2 virus heightens the island's risk for a possible outbreak. And an outbreak is not something we want to have. So how do we prevent this? Well, to discuss these concerns, we have online Mrs. Shireen Huntley-Jones, medical entomologist and manager of the Vector Control Program in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Good morning to you, Mrs. Huntley-Jones.
Good morning, Mr. Seth.
Yes,
Thanks
great
for having me.
Yes, great to have you on with us again. Well, to ensure that we're all on the same page, and for the record, what really is dengue and what are its symptoms?
Right, so dengue is a viral illness transmitted by a mosquito, specifically the Aedes aegypti mosquito in our territory.
Mm-hmm.
It's called dengue fever, so it's an illness. One of the main symptoms is that of fever. It's also called pain, muscle pain, what we call retroorbital pain, that's pain behind the eyes. And it's varying symptoms, but the main symptoms are fever and muscle pain.
Right. You mentioned about the muscle pain, the pain behind the eyes. I mean, that's not exclusive to dengue, is it?
No, it is not. It is not. In fact, the other viruses that we have had in Jamaica, chikungunya and Zika, have similar symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so, quite a number of the vector-borne diseases and other non-vector-borne diseases present with the same symptoms. For example, flu. Persons may also have fever and experience some muscle pains as well.
So we should not necessarily assume that it is dengue if we have these symptoms.
Is correct. Okay. That is correct. Although in this season, we want persons to assume that it's dengue until they are otherwise told by their clinician.
Yes.
It's critical that at this time that our persons become heightened to the fact that they may have dengue and not pass it off as something else. So in this season, we want you to assume that it's dengue and to go to your clinician, to go to your health center or to the hospital, and to be properly diagnosed as to what viral illness you may be experiencing.
Is it a contagious disease?
It's a communicable disease. So it's different from COVID. COVID was a disease that persons could contract from the airdrops of someone who was infected. For dengue, it's a communicable disease. It can only be transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito. So if I'm in a room with someone with dengue and there's no mosquito, I cannot get dengue. So what has to be present in the equation is an infected mosquito or a mosquito that bites an individual that has dengue, and then that will subsequently come and bite me and pass that dengue on to me.
I hear you mentioning the Aedes aegypti mosquito. How is it identified?
Wow. That's what is going to be a little bit tricky with the naked eye and for the unexperienced person. Mosquitoes are quite very small. That's one. And two, in Jamaica, we have about 72 species of mosquitoes.
Wow.
And so the average Jamaican in their space may see about 10 to 12 of those species. However, I like to describe this Aedes aegypti mosquito as the salt and pepper looking mosquito. The beautiful little black girl that you will usually see. You'll see the males from time to time as well. And it has black and white spotting. And so if you pause to look at your mosquito before she actually starts biting, you will see that salt and pepper variation on her. Black mosquito with black and white scalings. It's going to be very different from another mosquito that we oftentimes will get into our homes, which is a pale brown mosquito. That one is called the Culex mosquito. It's not a disease-carrying mosquito at this time, but it's one of our major nuisance. The first places like Portmore or Dalby, St. Thomas, quite a number of communities. Most times when persons complain about mosquitoes, they're really complaining about that Culex mosquito, that light brown. But the Aedes aegypti, the vector, dengue, chikungunya, and the Zika, the black mosquito with white and black stripes or scalings, as we call it.
So is it that if we are bitten by this mosquito, we will ultimately get dengue?
Very good question, Doc. So, as I said before, the dengue is passed on by an infected mosquito. So the mosquito itself has to have the virus within its body and before it's able to pass it on. So we can be bitten by an Aedes aegypti mosquito that does not have the virus. So of course, it would have none to pass on to us. So the critical thing is that we are bitten by an infected Aedes aegypti mosquito. And once she's infected and she's coming to feed, she's going to pass that on. Here's why. Before a mosquito is able to extract blood, they have to prevent the body's natural mechanism of clotting. Once the body experiences a wound, the natural mechanism of clotting kicks in. And so the piercing of the mosquito, the piercing of the skin will be perceived by the body as a wound, and then the blood in that area will clot. In order to prevent clotting, before the mosquito starts extracting blood, she secretes an enzyme into the area that she has pierced to prevent clotting in that area. And it is that action of secreting the enzyme that facilitates the transference of the pathogen, in this case, the dengue virus. So even before she starts taking blood, she would have already infected her victim.
All right. It's so serious.
yes, indeed. Quite an interesting thing.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're up on a break. We're going to be right back for this interesting discussion.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, September 19, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain-testing mental size. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear the testimony of Belinda, who was in debt and was struggling until God paid all her bills. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit for part 2 with the anointed pastor and founder of the Winners in Christ Deliverance International Ministry, Apostle Tishia Downer Green. All the summer will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. September 19 with me, Sarah Ann the Joppy Ron of the family station Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Do you have questions about the availability of medication from your drugstore pharmacist?
Ask your pharmacist.
Contact the NHF to find out more. The time by the NHF is
7:15 and 25 seconds.
Follow Grace Sardine, better flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, better the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. You all of them nice. Pass the park, make push it.
Grace Sardines, follow the better flavor.
Need a qualified counseling psychologist to help you navigate life and challenges? Call Andre Allen Casey with over 10 years of experience in resolving relational issues, therapeutic interventions for couples, families, and individuals. Andre Allen Casey, licensed associate counseling psychologist with offices at 20 West Kings House Road, Kingston 10. Open Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Telephone or WhatsApp 876-360-6594. Or email AndreAllen_Casey@yahoo.com. Andre Allen Casey, counseling with a difference.
The world is full of job opportunities locally and overseas. Let us bring them to you. Register now at Distinction College located at 26 Haggard Road, Kingston, 6 Nugent Street, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios. In 2 to 3 months, earn local and international certificates in housekeeping, food and beverage, food preparation, receptionist, and customer service. Qualified to work in hotels, cruise ships, restaurants, and businesses worldwide. No subjects required, no age limits, no entrance test. Day, evening, and Saturday classes begin very soon at low school fees, easy and flexible payment plans. Call us 356-4167.
Get your Western Union back to school bonus from now until September 22. 50 winners of $10,000 every week. Millions in scholarships of up to $100,000 each. And double your Western Union money transfer in your GK1 wallet to get you ready for the new school year. You could be one of over 300 winners. Just download the GK1 app, receive a Western Union transfer in your GK1 wallet, and you're automatically entered to your back to school bonus. Visit gkmsonline.com for all the rules. Authorized under Section 58.
Josie, 4 of your gun. Head 4 party hot in iron. Josie, 4 of your gun. Take time back to your mouth in a fan. Grab 4 of the nicest party. Just for your gun, make your day well happy. Chicken, veggie, or plant-based. Make ears full your mouth with tears. Josie, 4 of your gun. Head 4 party hot in iron. Josie, 4 of your gun.
Get 4 juicy patties for just $1,000 now.
Promotion ends October 6th. Conditions apply.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Kay. She loved to dance and play. One day at school, she got very ill, and Mom was left with an unbearable bill. It would be easier if Mom was prepared. With School Companion, 80% of the bill is cleared. Medical care for children is a must for as low as $2,400 per month. Make unbearable medical bills go away. Sign up for Surgical School Companion today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the first watch, we have been having a very informative discussion on the whole matter of dengue as a public health threat. And in so doing, we have online Mrs. Shireen Huntley-Jones, medical entomologist and the manager for the Vector Control Program at the Ministry of Health. Mrs. Huntley-Jones, still with us?
Yes.
Right. What are the possible effects of dengue from the least to the worst case scenario?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
Pardon me?
Yes, could you repeat that question?
I'm sorry. Yes, what are the possible negative effects of contracting dengue from the least to the worst case scenario?
All right. So I'm very happy for this question because this is something that we want our public to be aware of and to pay keen attention to. So dengue has various physical manifestations. We have what we call dengue or classical dengue in the old nomenclature. And these symptoms present, like flu-like symptoms, ones that I mentioned before. Aches and pain, fever, that retroorbital pain in the eye. And usually these symptoms will last for about 7 days. The virus will go through the body. And, after 7 days, persons will begin to feel well. What we want persons to be very keen about is what we call the warning signs of severe dengue, because dengue can lead to death. However, there are some warning signs that are telltales as to whether you're progressing to what we now call severe dengue. And this is where we want persons to be knowledgeable and want persons to pay a keen attention to. So if you have dengue or your doctor has told you have dengue, this should be resolved within about 7 days. However, if you're seeing signs such as severe stomach pain or persistent vomiting, fast breathing, bleeding gums, you're feeling fatigue, especially if you have a child, and not just days that child is not getting up and returning to his or her normal self, blood in vomit, drowsiness. These are the signs that say, hey, you might be progressing to severe dengue. They're called warning signs of severe dengue. And we want persons to then go back to their clinician or go to a healthcare facility, to the hospital. In the last outbreak, unfortunately, for the first time, the outbreak that lasted for a year, from 2019 on into 2020, we had quite a number of deaths, over 80 deaths. But we found that persons, by the time they presented to our health facility, they were in a real advanced stage. They would have missed some of those warning signs that were, signals to, hey, get to the hospital. And so we want persons to go on the internet, look at some of these, what are some of these severe signs that you might be progressing to severe dengue. I repeat them: severe stomach pain, persistent vomiting, bleeding gums. In the old nomenclature, we used to talk about dengue hemorrhagic fever. So there's the classic dengue that's, mild symptoms, but when you begin to have bleeding, if bleeding continues unabated, then you get into a state of shock that may lead to death. And so any sign of bleeding that is unusual, you're brushing your teeth and you're seeing that bleeding from the gums, these are some signs that you might be progressing to severe dengue, and you have to present to your healthcare facility. It's very critical.
Yeah. You mentioned about bleeding gums. I'm just wondering, if you're brushing your teeth and all of that, you have an ulcer there or abrasion, those things could happen as well, as you know. How do we determine what is what?
So here is the thing. This is what we say to persons. So the Ministry of Health has issued a dengue alert. It means that we're in a heightened state of awareness related to dengue and the possibility of an outbreak. 1. 2, we're in that time of the year that when we do see an increase in dengue, this is the time of the year. So what we say to the person, anything that looks like dengue, assume that it's dengue and act accordingly. You understand what I say? Because we are in that time of the year. And so at home, it's going to be difficult because I'm not a clinician. So at home, it's going to be difficult for me to say, hey, this might be dengue, it might not be dengue. We want our citizens to listen. This is the dengue season, the dengue period. Anything that looks like dengue, I'm going to assume that is dengue and then take those necessary actions, which are, 1, do not treat with anything that is an NSAID, and we can talk a little bit more about that. But second, and importantly, I am going to go to my clinician to confirm so that I'm taking the right action. So once it looks like dengue, because you cannot at home have that differential diagnosis, but because we're in this dengue season, as it were, assume that it's dengue and then go to your healthcare facility to get that confirmation.
And there are persons who have died already from dengue in Jamaica?
We know. So this year, we have not confirmed any deaths from dengue.
Okay. Okay. The treatment options, I know you started talking about that. No home remedies, no nothing. And when we go to the doctor and all of that, what could we expect in regards to treatment?
So the treatment of dengue, so I start off by saying that there are no vaccines against the virus that causes dengue. So a lot of research is ongoing with that, but currently there's no vaccine available for dengue. And so what your clinician will do is to treat the symptoms that are occurring. So you'll get, you're going to be told to get rest, to hydrate, depending on how severe your symptoms are. Your doctor may give you medication for the pain or medication for the fever. But there is no vaccine or treatment that directly kills the virus. The virus passes through the body naturally. But the symptoms are what are going to be treated. At home, persons are told to just stay in bed, take your paracetamol for the pain, rehydrate because you're having fever. Some person may experience some diarrhea. It's important to put back that fluid and so forth. So that is as it relates to treatment. It's really supportive treatment, treating the symptoms until you pass the virus passes through.
Can persons be reaffected?
Oh, definitely. So here's the thing with dengue. There are 4 different stereotypes of dengue, 4 different types for the layman to understand. So an individual is able to get dengue 4 times. But
how many times that? How many times?
4 times. 4 times. Right.
And after the 4th time, you're good? That's the idea?
You should be good after the 4th time. But here is the thing that I'm going to tell you why you don't need it. You don't want to get it 4 times. So once you've had dengue 2 times or more, you are predisposed to progressing to severe dengue. That is the unfortunate thing. So if I had dengue type 1 and, another type comes in, say dengue type 3, and I contract dengue type 3 as well, I am now predisposed to having the more severe symptoms and to be more severely affected. That is the situation with dengue. So the more you're exposed to it, it's the more for that episode of infection, you may see more complications from the secondary and tertiary infection. So you really don't want to have dengue at all, first of all. But certainly you don't want to be having repeat infections of dengue because you're predisposed to progressing to that severe situation. And so we don't want dengue any at all. Currently in Jamaica, based on the data that we have received from our laboratory, our collaboration laboratory, we are seeing dengue type 2. It's of concern to us, particularly because we have not seen this type over 10 years. And so there's a large part of the population that would have been born within that period that would not have been exposed to this stereotype. That's one. So the younger population, we are of particularly concerned and about that, and we want to say some things to our parents in a little while. But also the older population now who would have had, exposure to dengue and are likely now to get a second infection are predisposed to that severe clinical manifestation. And so we're particularly concerned in this alert. And so because of that concern with the children, we are really asking parents to be monitoring closely their children as it relates to the possibility of them having dengue and really understanding those warning signs as it relates to severe dengue. We are also working with our schools because children are out. The Aedes aegypti is a day-biting mosquito. But more than likely, when you're infected, it's going to be during the daytime. You can be infected at home in the night because, most of us, when we go home, we turn on the light. And if there are Aedes aegypti mosquitoes in our homes, when we go home and turn on the light, that they may start feeding again. But primarily, it's, during the day. And so our children are at school during the day. And so we are imploring our school administrators to ensure that
Hearing you loud and clear, Mrs. Huntress. We're totally out of time. And thanks for the information. Thanks for joining us. Have a safe day.
Good. Thank you for having me. And our key message, asking everyone to search around their homes and destroy those breeding sites. That's our responsibility to take care of our health.
Thank you. Listeners, Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Anything possible with a little savings in your hand.
The time by Jan Bank is
7:30 and 35 seconds.
Why, Jenny? You know, see the little essential oil business that take off. Orders are coming from all about, you know. We're proud of your subtle, Sanya. You really take your time, build up your business. Thank you. But tell me something. You know, think of time for you up your thing now and start think bigger. What a point you make, Jenny. Export, Sanya. Think export. Let me disturb you for a second. You did know say in a 2021, Jamaica import 5.9 billion US dollars in goods and services, and we turn around export only 1.4 billion? You know, sister, we have missed opportunities to bring money in a Jamaica and grow the economy. Lord, man, so why the gap so big? I did not have it big, so you know, Sonia. If other small manufacturers like you start think export, we can bridge the gap and start bring some real money into the country.
A message from the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's Business Ministry. Growing exports, increasing investment.
At Flow, we are determined to get it right. Now, over 60% of Jamaica has access to our fiber fast network, with over 800 communities being upgraded since 2020. And there's more to come. Everything we're doing is inspired by our harshest critic, you. Join Jamaica's fiber fast network and rediscover Flow today.
Upskill yourself and earn what you are worth with international advanced diplomas and associate degrees at IIRQ Engineering and Technical College. Registered with UCJJ, taken an approved City and Guild Center. Get trained at global standards in 9 to 18 months and earn advanced diplomas and associate degrees in electronic and electrical engineering, logistics and supply chain management, motor vehicle repairs, business management, food prep, and food and beverage. Day, evening, and Saturday classes begin very soon. Register this week and choose a payment plan that suits you. Visit us at 32 Hope Road, Kingston, or call 876-322-4029. IIRQ, your premium technical college choice.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Planning to sit the January CSEC exams privately? Register with Overseas Examinations Commission before the registration deadline, October 13, 2023. Visit our Kingston office or Montego Bay office to complete your application form or send an email to help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow our social media pages at Overseas Exams for more details. Remember, if you plan to sit the January CSEC exams privately, the registration deadline is October 13, 2023.
Seniors, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is advising that the September 2023 payment under the Social Pension Program is now ready for collection. Check your text messages to confirm your payment arrangements. For further information, call 876-922-8007 or check the Ministry's website at www.mlss.gov.jm. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Christmas a come, me want me partner. Christmas a come, me want me partner. Christmas a come, me want me partner. Christmas a come, me want me partner.
Start saving now for just 16 weeks and get ready for the holidays. Open a Jan Bank partner plan today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers. To see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner, Dominican Republic's president stands resolute on closing all borders with Haiti. Also in the Gleaner, COP sues Jamaican health authorities over leg amputation in the U.S. In the Observer, JOA, that's the Jamaica Olympics Association, grants girls $25 million for Olympic qualifying campaign. Also in the Observer, juror shortage. Scamming cases dominate new session of St. James Circuit Court. In Loop News, I have no fear of them, says Golden of his political opponents. Declares he comes to Jamaicans with clean hands and a clean heart. And then finally, 1,155 new teachers enter Jamaica's classroom. Government to do out-of-cycle payroll to facilitate all of those September payments. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media questions. What are your thoughts on the Dominican Republic closing borders with Haiti? What are your thoughts on the Dominican Republic closing borders with Haiti? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
The summer sing-off is happening. And yes, you get to hear and watch it live. Catch the summer sing-off Saturday, September 23 at 10 a.m. Who will win the recording contract sponsored by Pioneer Music? Watch the excitement for yourself and listen and make your own decisions as judges. Our very own Jokal Dyer and Victor Brown with guest judge Alicia Taylor will listen, score, and announce the winner for the summer sing-off. It happens Saturday, September 23 at 10 a.m. inside the Gospel Train, and it will be live right here on the family station, Love 101. Who is a dunce? Let's learn a new phrase, non-fluent.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, September 19, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain-testing mental size. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear the testimony of Belinda, who was in debt and was struggling until God paid all her bills. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit for part 2 with the anointed pastor and founder of the Winners in Christ Deliverance International Ministry, Apostle Tishia Downer Green. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. September 19 with me, Sarah, and the Joppy Ron on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
This psalm is said to be a peace in the midst of the storm. It's about David's troubles and God's help, about how God blesses David. Let's dissect Psalm 3 and see what it says about how we should treat the troubles of life and what God does when we call out to Him. Tuesday, September 19, on The Rock, join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Pastor Sean Clue and Reverend Michael Aiken as they discuss the topic Psalm 3. That's The Rock, Tuesday, September 19 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What are your thoughts on the Dominican Republic closing borders with Haiti? Jokal.
All right, so we do have a response here from Cherry. Cherry's in Spanish Town. Cherry says, it is a technical question. Some would say they shouldn't, but at the end of the day, every country's government knows what the implications of migrants and the responsibilities you hold for your citizens. It is sad and heart-rending that there is so much surrounding that dreadful situation in Haiti. The question still lingers, why didn't the Haitian government nip it in the bud? It started from somewhere. And then, she, went on to say, mark you, not all immigrants are criminals, but the good will suffer for the bad. And then she goes on to say, happy birthday, Dr. Toussaint. Enjoy your special day and all good things from God.
Thank you very much.
All right, no problem.
That's what, Cherry?
Yes, Cherry in Spanish Town.
All right, thanks, Cherry. And thanks for the comment. As we now segue into the second watch, will Haiti's woes ever end? Relationship with its land-hogging neighbor has never been great, but today it seems to be getting worse. According to media reports, the president of the Dominican Republic recently doubled down his decision to close the air, sea, and the land port entry from Haiti. Is this a dastardly move or one of preservation and security? What could be the consequences for Haiti, especially in their present state? And what are the possible alternatives, if any? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have joining us so far the Reverend Dr. Ralston Nemard, retired Anglican priest, social and international commentator, and he's also an author and a columnist. Good morning, Reverend Nemard.
And good morning to your audience.
Great, good to have you with us again. Reverend Nemard, what is your understanding of why Dominic has decided to close its border to Haiti?
Well, from what Dominican Republic is saying, the canal that the Haitians are trying to build on the river, interestingly called the Massacre River, and that has its own historical precedence too. But they believe that if they should go ahead with this canal, it would divert water, precious commodity like that, from their farmers in that part of the environment, and may cause some kind of environmental tragedy. And so they didn't believe that the unilateral decision by Haiti to go ahead and build a canal like that, was in the best interest of the DR, Dominican Republic. And so they decided to close the border in protest against it, and probably to force a new direction on the Haitians. So that's the gist of what is happening there. But the Haitians, on the other hand, they're saying that we need this water because there's a very serious drought situation in that part of the country, and they need to have the water diverted. But whether you can just go and do it unilaterally when you share a common border with another nation is the big question.
Is there more to it than what we're hearing, you think?
Yeah, I think so, because there has been a simmering problem between the Haitians and the Dominican Republic for a very long time. As a matter of fact, they had threatened. They have threatened in the past to close the border because of the gun trafficking and the and other problems, social problems that they have been experiencing, and they fear that Dominican Republic might be overrun by the Haitians. So it is not. This is just a symptom of a larger problem that has existed between the two countries for a very, very long time. And how it is going to be resolved is going to take more than just what the Haitians or the Dominican Republic can agree on a bilateral basis. It has to, the way it is playing out now, it has to have some kind of international intervention to bring some kind of resolution to and I don't think you're gonna get a strong resolution in the short term. But this is the latest attempt to go, and it's a radical move, you know, when you close off all land, air, and sea borders. Yes.
Dr. Nemad, we're up on a break. Just hold that thought, okay?
Yes, man. No problem.
Sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with paper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody
Great sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45 and 45 seconds.
Me pull up at the gas station and the attendant come up.
87 or 90.
I don't know why him think I would put 87 in my new car. But me answer him. But when him say
cash or card,
me say, big man, why would I take my cash and buy gas? I pay for everything with my Surgical Bank credit card. Grocery, gas, bills. Cause when you use your card, you get your reward. If I pay cash, you are gonna give me a reward?
We can wipe your windscreen.
Earn the best rewards ever with Surgical Bank credit cards. Conditions apply.
Why suffer from heartburn, gas, upset stomach, or indigestion? Get fast, effective, long-lasting relief from Benjamin's Antacid. Benjamin's Antacid works faster than a hot cup of tea. Benjamin's, the trusted name for over a century.
Every time my son send the liquor bottle for me, I have to go sit down and waff all day like me have nothing else to do. No, sir, me no fear do this.
Tired of spending all day at the wharf to clear your barrel?
Driver, turn up that the little bit for me there.
Starting May 1, use contactless clearance to clear your non-commercial shipments and avoid the long wait. Call Jamaica Customs today at 876-922-51408 or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm.
Oh, God goody. Me go call customs and learn about the contactless clearance. Hook me up.
Less waiting, more convenience. Try Customs contactless clearance today.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Get your Western Union back to school bonus from now until September 22. 50 winners of $10,000 every week. Millions in scholarships of up to $100,000 each. And double your Western Union money transfer in your GK1 wallet to get you ready for the new school year. You could be one of over 300 winners. Just download the GK1 app, receive a Western Union transfer in your GK1 wallet, and you're automatically entered to your back to school bonus. Visit gkmsonline.com for all the rules. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting Gaming Laws present.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this the second watch, we are looking on the whole matter of Domrep closing its border with Haiti. And in so doing, we have online Reverend Dr. Ralston Nemard, social commentator. Reverend Nemard, before the break, I had interrupted your train of thought. Please continue.
Right. What I was saying is that it's a very serious thing that the DR has done, very, very radical, because when you close off all your land, air, and sea borders, I mean, what you're really saying to the other countries is that you just cannot get in at all, and yet, you know, the two countries, as you know, are landlocked, and so they're gonna have they could have a very serious border crisis. Because there's a certain amount of trade, as a matter of fact, a great amount of trade, are movements of people between the two borders in terms of Haitians going over to Dominican working, and vice versa, Haitians more perhaps than the Dominican Republicans. But it's a very serious situation that can lead to some, serious humanitarian problems. And that is where, Jamaica, has got to really take notice, because it has increased the pressures now on Haitians not being able to come across the border and to do their daily business and trade. So can you imagine the social pressures that can be built up in Haiti that can have an overflow on Jamaica in terms of people, refugees coming to our shores?
Yeah.
So it's a very serious problem.
Yes, it is. I gather that we now have online Dr. Valsi. That is Dr. Julio Valsi, President and CEO of Teen Challenge in Haiti, Senior Pastor of Rendezvous Christ Church. Welcome to our program again, Dr. Valsi.
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint. It is always a pleasure to be with you and with the
on the other end, we have Reverend
Love of One Family. Can you hear me?
Yes. On the other end, we have also Reverend Dr. Ralston Nemhart.
Oh, good.
Right? Great. Yeah. How is the closure? How is the closure, Dr. Valsi, affecting the citizens of Haiti and Dominic so far?
Well, it's for me. It is we see again once you're in a society or in a country and in a community where there is no leadership and the people have to take charge for their own safety and their own rights, and you can imagine of the outcome. So I would say there's a lot of emotion involved. This is remind me again, and not only me, or the leaders, to see that if the Haitian people willing, or if the leaders of this country willing to get the country back on its feet, it's possible. But all we have to do, we have to have this, what I call the national conscience of what's going on with our nation. So there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of talking. It seems to me it's something that everybody is in need for. But I think this is more than just, a situation between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. I think it's overwhelming with all the situations that's going on in Haiti at this time. So as a result, people are trying to find a way out, and they're also using this situation as a way to express themselves, in a sense, because they felt like they're left behind. They're pretty much on their own. Everybody's taking advantage on them, and no one want to give them a chance. So as a result, the people are now, they are taking charge, and that's what we sense, and that's what's going on here.
What is the role and response of the church so far, Dr. Valsi, in light of this development?
Well, you know what? I think I tweeted that probably yesterday. A couple of weeks ago, I preached on leading like Jesus, but this time in unity. I strongly believe that our only way out as a nation, I think as a society, it's when we can value each other, when we can truly lead with what I call under the law of Christ. And the law of Christ, what is it? Is you desire for your neighbors, for your brothers, for your sisters, what you desire for yourself, what you want them to do for you. If you were in their position, you will do the same for them. And so this continues to be the message of the church. I see many churches are standing in a way, not because they're for or against the DR, but they're helping their own people. They understand that this is more than situation between the treaty that was signed in 1929 between the DR and Haiti, but it is something with with human beings, because there is no equality. People, again, I said, taking advantage of Haiti as a nation, because no one's willing to stand for the least of these. So I think the local church is standing, not in a violent way, but it's to hearing the cries of the people. So we've been praying and we've been finding a way, discussing, finding what's the best way we can help bring hope to the Haitian people, because at this time when I'm talking with you, it is a very disparate situation, because we have been left, the Haitian people actually have been left behind. They're pretty much on their own, and they have to defend themselves, and that's exactly what's going on right now, because it was not supposed to be the Haitian people who was supposed to be the one building that channel, was supposed to be the Haitian government. But since we don't have any strong government in the country, and the people are doing it on their own, and you know what? Although the intention might be right, but it can create a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
And I hope soon there will be a resolution between the Haitian government and the Dominican government, because I believe that as two countries in the same island, we need to have a better relationships, and it has not been pretty. I can tell you, for years now.
It has not been pretty. So whether we're talking about the closing of borders or other actions, gentlemen, it would be remiss of me to have both of you on this program without inviting your views on the recent reported decision of the Jamaican government to send back 36 Haitian migrants to Haiti within 24 hours of them landing in Portland, Jamaica. Begin with you, Dr. Nemard.
Yes, I think what to begin with, countries have to respect the signatures that they have appended to international agreements regarding refugees, and I would locate the Jamaica government's decision to do that in such a rapid way, to wonder whether they considered very carefully the protocols that surround the sending back of these Haitians, or whether you have given them due process. And I am not sure. I am not sure at this point whether they have that they have really done that, because of the rapidity in which these people are being sent back. And insofar as that is so, it doesn't smell too good. And people must be given due process. If you sign agreements, then you have to give them. It doesn't matter whether they're Haitians or they're Bolivians or they are Europeans.
Loud and clear.
Every single person must be respected.
Yes, Dr. Valsi, 1 minute, quickly.
Yes, I think Reverend Dr. Nembard said it well. People are people. It doesn't matter your nationality. People are people. But I want to say something, probably a side note. I think that the Prime Minister of Jamaica, it seemed to be a good friend of the Prime Minister of Haiti. And I think they probably do some religions. I saw them in Jamaica together when I was there last June. And I believe that the Prime Minister of Jamaica has a moral responsibility toward the Prime Minister, or toward the Haitian people, to actually challenge his friend. That his friend needs to lead, because if you call to be in a position of leadership, you have responsibility. And I don't feel that the Prime Minister of Haiti been taking that responsibility seriously. Okay. I believe that the Prime Minister of Jamaica has better can better help on that. So
right,
when it comes to,
I have to leave it there, Dr. Valsi. So sorry, I have to leave it there. Hearing your views loud and clear. And Reverend Dr. Nemard. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Have a safe day.
My pleasure, and for you too.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-95967. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guest. I'm Dylan Toussaint, and you back to Love in the Morning with Jokal.
All right, very interesting conversation there inside the Morning Watch. Just want to say again to Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint, happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday, and I do pray that your day will be phenomenal. Coming up now, we have Forward in Faith, brought to you by the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center. After